Hello everyone, welcome back to TH Designs, a channel that hosts a bunch of different type of videos, from recreations to Wheel of Wonders videos. Today's video is going to be a recreation video. We're finally back. I think the last one we did was Velocicoaster at Islands of Adventure in Orlando. Today we're doing something quite the opposite. We're going from arguably the best coaster ever made, in some people's opinion, and rightfully so if you ask me, to the oldest coaster in Six Flags overall. We did Thunderhawk a few months ago and then RMC'd it, which was a really fun video. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. That was the oldest coaster in Cedar Fair. So you think of the Cedar Fair merger into Six Flags, technically Thunderhawk is second to this coaster. Now, of course, the narrative that is now around this ride and around the park Six Flags America is that it's closing. It's closed by now. It closed on the 2nd of November. Six Flags, of course, with the merger with Cedar Fair, decided that they were going to close shop on some places. Six Flags America getting the axe first, as many people in the DC area are aware of. And unfortunately, along with some other rides, and some good rides like Superman, Wild One is torn down, is going to be torn down most likely. I imagine some parts might go to the National Coaster Museum in Texas, but as of now, the future of this coaster is in jeopardy. So I decided to recreate it in Planet Coaster, as we do with a couple different coasters, to, you know, kind of do my own way of honoring it. I'm a sucker for history and roller coasters, and this coaster is over 100 years old. It is Thunderhawk, I believe, is 101. This coaster was created in 1917. It precedes Six Flags America by almost 60 years, just to kind of compare the age of the two. So I guess while I'm building the layout, as you see me doing right now, using the TV method that we typically do to make sure everything's proportional, at least top down, let's talk a little bit of history. And maybe you're not familiar with this coaster at all. Maybe you're on the West Coast and you may not know Six Flags America very well, although I wouldn't even say it's super popular around here with parks like Six Flags Great Adventure and Dorney and Hershey. But this coaster, like I said, is 1917. It precedes Six Flags America by 50 something years, 60 years about. The ride opened originally at a park, I believe it was called Paragon Park, which wasn't too far away. It was in Massachusetts, so a few states north. Basically, it operated there until the 80s, so whatever that is, 60 years. And then it opened in Six Flags America. After the park closed in 1984, it opened in Six Flags America in 1984. So it did not open with Six Flags America, which I guess it's important to note that Six Flags America the park didn't spawn in 1974. It had a host of different names before that, like Wild World and Adventure World. But the coaster came into Six Flags America from that park in 84, so 10 years after Six Flags America opened. And it's sat here since, and it actually has survived. It is quite a history, quite an interesting history. At Paragon Park, it went through a few fires, which one fire is interesting, but I think it went through two, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that happened twice, kind of thing. That's kind of why the layout's kind of strange, because the original design, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find many images because this is over 100 years ago, but in the 30s there was a fire that forced them to kind of ask the question of, do we tear it down, or do we touch it up, or do we recreate it? And they decided to recreate it, kind of taking a cheaper option, which is why the layout is kind of awkward, because originally it was supposed to have more bunny hop hills, according to my notes, at least according to Wikipedia, and they went for a much more rough and shortened layout, but it was cheaper and it allowed the ride to exist. Without it, there would be no Wild One, so they did what they had to do. That's why you kind of have some rough transitions on the current ride, is from those 30s renovations, on top of the fact it's 100 years old. Naturally. Regarding history at Six Flags America, you'll see me in a little bit build some of the quirks that have been built around this coaster. So you're seeing me work on some flat rides now, and I'm trying to recreate the path. There's the Great American Raceway. I can't remember exactly what it was called. I guess I'll say Six Flags America is not my local park. I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm near Great Adventure in Dorney, so I have been to this park, but it is not my bread and butter necessarily. But I know it is for a lot of my viewers. It's in the DC area, so that's obviously a very big populated area. So for some people, this is a very, very sad end to a local park. You're going to see me in a little bit kind of building one of the quirks that I thought was the most fascinating, which was the original Skull Island log flume ride. Or Skull Mountain, not Skull Island. This isn't King Kong. I knew about Skull Mountain at Six Flags Great Adventure in Jersey, in Jackson. But there is a Skull Mountain log flume, which I will talk a little bit more about when you actually see me get to the build. It is very fascinating how you see the history of this park being revolved around this coaster, which ironically wasn't even at the park for all that long. I mean, 50 years is a long time, or 40 years more or less is a long time. Let's not get it twisted, but most of this coaster's life was not at Six Flags America, which is a fascinating distinction. You see me right now doing just some basic mulching and trying to make it all look together. I kind of made the basic, the main points in the area. This coaster is in the Mardi Gras. I think it's Mardi Gras, the New Orleans section of the park. So that's why you see kind of a lot of funkier colors, a lot of reds, a lot of purples, a lot of greens, a lot of oranges. You see me now working on the train, which you may not recognize these trains. This is a mod, the old PTC bench trains. Technically the original, the wild one, has a 3-seat car. This only has 2 rows of seats with these bench trains, these PTC bench trains. But to me, with the backs not being tall like you see on the Kingdom Isle ones, on the typical PTC trains that you see in Planet Coaster, I decided to kind of have some fun with the mods. So that's why you see this train. I will be putting this on the workshop with the Kingdom Isle trains, because I'm not, as far as I know, I can't upload things that are modded to the workshop without potentially risking being banned, and I'm not interested in taking that risk. So I'm going to upload this to the workshop with the normal unmodded trains, and so that way everybody that wants to download this can download this and they don't have to worry about it. So you see me doing some basic supports here, pretty rudimentary stuff for old wooden coasters. I would say this was probably more difficult than Thunderhawk. Thunderhawk was pretty, I made like a mold and I was able to kind of revolve it around the track, and you see me kind of doing something similar, but the layout is very funky. It reminds me of Comet at Hershey Park, where it's kind of like a very unusual layout, but that's what I love about these old wooden coasters, is they're so charming. There's so much personality, and it's why the fact that it's leaving is such a shame, because coasters like this, wooden coasters like this, I think the reality is, I think the older we get, the longer time goes on, the more money Six Flags looks to get, and all those greedy corporate things that we could talk about forever. The reality is that these kinds of coasters are probably going to be few and far between, and the loss of a 110-year-old coaster is quite sad, especially something as interesting as this. You see me now actually doing that Skull Mountain log flume ride, so I guess I'll jump back onto that. But it is, like I said, a shame that we are losing such a great coaster, as many people in the area know and the fans of the park are already well aware of. As for the other coasters in the park, I believe they're all most of them are being moved. Anyway, that's enough of the sad stuff. What you see me doing now with the rock work, this is Skull Mountain, which it has a very similar exterior to what you see on Six Flags Great Adventure, where it's this kind of, it's a rocky kind of facade with a skull built into it, and it's something similar here. I'm pretty sure Skull Mountain was in the 90s, the log flume ride, which is why it's so heavily like molded around the coasters, because the coaster preceded it at that point by 10 years. But it created such a fascinating moment in the ride. I went to this park maybe 2 months ago, something like that, and I remember riding Wild One, which for the record was not the smoothest coaster in the world, but it kind of comes with the territory. But I remember riding the ride, and there was this indoor, kind of quote unquote indoor moment. It's not really indoors, it's more like wrapped in a facade. And I remember being like, whoa, like, what is that? And then you see this really interesting tower that still sits there. I don't have when the log flume closed, but they left the log flumes rotating, section of the ride where the log flume actually rotates like 90 degrees. I'm not sure exactly what that element's called, but you see it on some older log flume rides. But they kept that, and then they kept the actual drop of the log flume with the facade of the building, and it creates this really fascinating moment on Wild One. So that's what you see me recreating now to the best of my ability. And yeah, so it's really, from the outside it looks like a skull. It looks like a cool rocky interior, but on the inside it's really just this basic paneling. But I feel like I captured it pretty nicely. And it's the same thing on the other side. With that done, you see me jumping back over to the station. The station is very, very charming. It's what Wild One is all about. I mean, you'll see the station as I'm building it and putting it together, but the blue and the red, white, and blue with the wooden framing, the custom wooden framing that you see me doing now, I tried my best to capture it because I remember being at the park and thinking that it was very, very charming. It really captured. This station was probably built in the 80s, and I feel like it even then it was pretty retro. So I just love that blue and the red together, and the white. There's a lot of white on this ride. White wooden coasters are few and far between nowadays, now that they're kind of being poached. So while I'm working on the station in the background, I guess I will talk about the plaque. So if you are not familiar, we do have an Etsy page here at TH Designs. I do a lot of laser cutting and a lot of design work with my laser cutter, and I do a lot of personal custom projects for different people on the shop. You've seen it in the past with things like Candacaw and Velocicoaster. I've never done one like this where it's a memorial plaque for a park. I'll attach some footage so you can kind of actually see it. I'm sure I put something at the beginning so everybody can see it in case they're interested in buying it. I tried to capture obviously the main entrance of the park is very iconic, and I try to make that the focal point of the plaque. I imagine for the people that it's the local park that's pretty iconic and pretty nostalgic. I think about Dorney Park, my local park, and I think about that entrance, which is half as iconic. And for me, I see that entrance and I know immediately where I am. I feel like park entrances have such character to them, and I feel like Six Flags America is no less. So I tried to capture that in the plaque. And then of course I tried to capture a basic skyline. You can only fit so much on a plaque with the little material that I do use to try and keep the price down. And so I made 3 coasters that are 2 layers deep. The coasters you can see on the left: Superman, Ride of Steel, Batwing, and then Wild One. Because to me, these are the big 3. I really, some people are going to say Roar should be up there, and I totally understand that. When something is simplified, it's hard to show distinguishing features, and I think wooden coasters are certainly in that same category. So Superman, you can more or less, with the unique intimate supports, you can kind of showcase what model is. If you are interested in that, you can find us on Etsy. Link is always in the description. Link is always on the main channel's description as well. And with all that said, we are coming to a close. I did a lot of trimming on this time lapse because I didn't want it to go on and on and on and on. So let's cut over to a little cinematic I'll do. If you would want to see this RMC'd, which I know may be a little distasteful at the moment because we only just lost it recently. But if you are interested in doing some kind of homage with an RMC, do let me know in the comments. Let me know if you don't too. Thunderhawk fans were also very adamant in letting me know that they did not want an RMC. So I appreciate your opinions and your voices. So I will see you in the next video, whatever that video may be, and I hope you enjoyed this, especially you Six Flags America fans. Take care, everyone.